Okay, good morning, and this is the 14th of June, and I've got some Math 155 homework questions to go over. I've got several that I'm going to pull up here, and start with the first one. Let's see what kind of order. You should be able to see my screen. Let's see, this is question number 6. That's 13, 14, 15, and 16. So they're in order, so we'll go in order. This is 6.1, number 23 in the book, like number 23 in the book, and question number 6 online. So if you're working online, this is question number 6. So what I'll do is I'll click on here, and I'll write the question down, and then I'll switch over to my document cam and do the problem. I'm working from home today, so I don't have my whiteboard at the school. I'm working from home. The question says, and there it is, 1/2 x squared minus 2x plus 7. And we're plugging in x is equal to 2/3. Now, if you watch my videos on 6.1, the first thing I tell you, and I'm fixing to go to the whiteboard. I meant not the whiteboard, but the document cam. So just give me a second. It's got to turn on. And it's not turning on. Why isn't it turning on? Okay. Well, what I'll do is I'll restart the document cam, and then we'll get started, hopefully. There's 2 words that you always need to look for in homework directions. One is evaluate, and the other is determine. And when you see those 2 words, they basically mean the same thing. Plug and chug. Plug in the number, and for some reason I'm trying to open my document cam and it's not opening. Okay, I think it is now. There we go. I have to turn it around because for some reason it does this. Make sure, there it is. Okay, and I'm going to make it bigger. Oh, I can't believe I just did that. Well, at least you get to see how fallible your teacher is and how sometimes I mess up just like y'all do. Of course, some of y'all mess up all the time pertaining to your emails. Y'all mess up just all the time, and y'all need to quit being so hard on yourself. But anyway, there's the form, there's the problem, and I'm going to do something. I'm going to write this in orange. X is equal to 2/3. Okay, I know you can't see it. Just let me go through there and put x is equal to 2/3. Okay, so whenever you see the word determine and evaluate, determine, I'm going to write that in a red color because I want you to highlight it. Okay, and I go through this in my videos, so, and I don't mean this in any disrespect, but if you haven't watched my videos, watch them. Because, you know, I consider myself a fairly decent teacher. And you might want to watch it since you're doing an online class. You might want to watch the videos that I provide. And I have them for the last 6 years. And I know I've taught 155 at least all of those years. So you have at least 6 155s that you can actually look at. And this is directed toward the whole class because everybody in the whole class sees this video. So determine, when you see the word determine, or if you see the word evaluate. Evaluate and determine means plug and chug. Plug in the number and churn out the arithmetic, or chug out the arithmetic. Plug and chug, that's what that means. Now, determine means that you're going to check to see if an equation is true or false. Evaluate means that you're going to plug in and get the solution. Okay? So this one is an evaluate because they do not set it equal to 5 or any other. So they don't want you to check to see if the equation is true. They're just wanting you to get a solution. Now, if you watch the videos, I tell you 2 things that are very important with this type of question. I tell you, 1, use parentheses. Use parentheses whenever you plug in something. 2, change everything to a fraction. And I tell you this when I go over fractions. Everything, turn it into a fraction. If you have a fraction in a problem, then you turn everything into a fraction. And now I've completely taken up this page with preliminary stuff. So what I'll do is I'll rewrite the problem. And you can pause the video and you can write that down if you need to. And I'm going to rewrite the problem. 1/2 x squared minus 2x plus 7. And I'll take my handy dandy orange and I'm going to say x is equal, and I'm going to put 2/3 in orange. There you go. Now I'm going to rewrite my formula, and wherever there's an x, I'm going to put a orange set of parentheses. 1/2. And notice I make my parentheses big because I'm going to make that a fraction. And I meant to make these orange. I'm sorry, I'm a loser. There we go. And I'm going to put a 2/3 there, and I'm going to put a 2/3 there. And I'm going to make this a 1. Now notice what I did. This was already a fraction. So I had a fraction, and this was not a fraction, so I made it a fraction. Now I'm going to rewrite it. And you should pick these up in your videos. And we're going to make that 7 a fraction also. So that's going to be 1/2. 2 squared is 4. 3 squared is 9. 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times 3 is 3. And I put a 1 under that 7. Now you can do this 2 different ways. You can say 1 times 4 and 2 times 9 and reduce, or you can reduce this 2 and that, and I'm going to do that in another color. 2 will go into 2 one time, 2 will go into 4 2 times, excuse me. So now 1 times 2 is 2. 2 over 9 minus 4 over 3 plus 7 over 1. Now, if you watch the videos, you'll see that we have 3 different denominators. If you have 3 different denominators, you have to use your common denominator. The common denominator, and write this down in red, the common denominator is what you learned as your greatest common divisor. Greatest common divisor. That's the biggest number that all 3 numbers will go into. To give you a recap, 1, and if you watch the videos, you know what I'm talking about. 9, and 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and sometimes 13, and we want 1s on the bottom. So, 2 won't go into these, but 3 will. 3 will not go into 1, so you just bring the 1 down, and I did this in the videos. 3 will go into 3 one time, 3 will go in there 3 times. 3 will go in there, it won't, so you bring it down, bring this down, and 1. And there you got your 3 1s, so this is your common denominator. So 9 is your common denominator. 9, 9, 9. And now you have to convert. 9 will go into 9. 1 time. 1 times 2 is 2. 3 will go into 9 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. 1 will go into 9 9 times. 9 times 7 is 63. I had to think there for a minute. And now you just add the numerators. 2 minus 12 is negative 10. And negative 10 plus 63 is 53. So your final answer, if I've done my math correctly, is 53 over 9. Now, a lot of people say, well, Hubert, why don't you change that into a mixed number? Well, a mixed number is only for measurements. 2.5 yards, 3.5 gallons, 4.5 miles. And if you start off with a fraction, you end with a fraction. And this is a improper fraction, but there's nothing wrong with an improper fraction. Now, if you were asking for feet of rope, you would change that into a mixed number, because nobody walks into Lowe's and asks for 53 ninths feet of rope. You change it into 4.5 feet, or you change it, 9 will go in there, what, 5 feet? That'd be 5 times 9 is 45, and that will be what, 8 ninths, which is, you know, almost 6 feet. Okay? So you would ask for 6 feet of rope, or 5 and 8 ninths feet of rope. So, you know, that's the question. And what is this called? This is called a solution, because you evaluated. You plugged 2/3 into the x's, and you followed your fractional rules, and you got the solution. Okay, let's go to the next question. Let me pull up the handy dandy homework question. Let me find it. There we go. Okay, so the answer, I think we got 53 ninths. So 53 divided by 9. And we feel good about ourselves. Good job. All right, let's go to another. I'm going to delete that one. This is 6.1, number 59 in the book, and number 13 online. Okay, 2/5 x plus 4/5 is equal to negative 2/5. Now, this question, this is not a determine or a, notice it does not say determine, it does not say evaluate. What does it say? It says solve. How do you know it says solve? Well, it's there, and it's got an equal sign, and it's got a variable. So this is a solve. This is an equation. So the first thing I would suggest doing is multiplying through by 5. Why? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Whenever you want, and I've talked about this in my videos, to clear a fraction in, and I'm going to just say fract, that's fraction, in an equation, you multiply through by the common denominator. So I'm going to multiply through by 5. And as long as I do it all the way through, 5/1. Do it on the right side, do it on this side. So that I'm going to put a baby step in here, 5/1, and I do the baby steps in the videos also. And now I'm going to rewrite my equation. 2/5 x plus 4/5 is equal to negative 2/5 times that. I just put that parenthesis there so that negative won't conflict because you're multiplying. And now what happens to the 5s? They cancel. You're left with 2x. 5 and 5. So you rewrite, and that's going to give you 2x plus 4 is equal to negative 2. And now you just have a basic algebra problem. And you take this 4 across the river, and it becomes a negative 4. That's the river. The equal sign is the river. Some people say if you want to get rid of adding 4, you subtract 4. If you do it on one side, you do it on the other. However you learned it, however you like to learn it, I don't care. But this is a negative 4 on this side. So 2x is equal to negative 6. Divide by 2, divide by 2. X is equal to negative 3. And of course, as always, when you find a solution, you want to check it. And you can check that by plugging into the original. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a check. And the reason I'm going to do a check is because this is fractions, and everybody hates fractions. So the more practice you get, the better off or the less you're going to suck at it. So 2 over 1, parentheses, plus 4 over 5 is equal to negative 2 over 5. And I'm going to take, again, my orange. We're going to paint this orange. We're going to plug in negative 3 over 1. And now we're going to do our math. Negative 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Negative 6 over 1 is negative 6. But I'm going to say negative 6 over 1 because we've got fractions. Plus 4 over 5 is equal to, oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. That's supposed to be 2/5. I made a mistake. Oh, sorry. Okay, so that's going to be negative 6 over, there we go. Negative 6 over 5 plus 4 over 5 is equal to negative 2 over 5. And what is negative 6? Because we've got common denominators. What is negative 6 plus 4? Negative 2. And negative 2 over 5 is equal to negative 2 over 5. And it balances. So therefore, we are correct. And 3 is the solution. Negative 3 is the solution to this problem. Okay? So that's another problem. I think that was number 13. I can't remember. Let's look back and see. I think that was number 13. The first one was number 6, I believe. Number 6 and number 13, I believe. That's in your online homework. So let's go to another one. And remember, you can hit pause and rewrite whatever you need to. Let's look and see which number that was. Yes, that was number 13. So 6 and 13. Next one is number 14. And this question says, and I'm going to put number 14 so you can write down which online question it is. 4 times x plus 2, 4 parentheses x plus 2, is equal to 2 times x plus 1, I'm sorry, 2 times 2x plus 1 plus 6. Okay? Now I remember distinctly going over one like this in my videos because I have to, because there's 3 types of solutions to equations. Let's write this in red. And I remember going over this in videos. Okay? 3 types of solutions to equations. And if you watch the videos, you will see what I'm writing right here. 3 types of solutions. 1, 90% of the time, you're going to get x is equal to a number. Okay, that is what we call a solution. Okay, 90% of the time, you're going to get a number. And I'm just going to put 90% of the time. The second type is you're going to get x is equal to x. Or you're going to get 10 is equal to 10. Or you're going to get 5 is equal to 5. Or you're going to get 1/2 is equal to 1/2. Or you're going to get 2x plus 4 is equal to 2x plus 4. Or you're going to get negative 8 is equal to negative 8. All these statements are what we call true. If you get a true statement, then your answer is all real numbers. Okay? Negative infinity to positive infinity. Some people put negative infinity to positive infinity. Most of the time, you put a big R with 2 lines on the front of it. All real numbers. And that's called an identity. Okay? That's called an identity when you get something that's true. 5 is equal to 5, true. 6 is equal to 6, true. Negative 10 is equal to negative 10, true. And then the third type you get is when you get 6 is equal to 127, or 3x is equal to 5x, or 10 is equal to 22, or negative 6 is equal to 5, or 4 is equal to 8, or 2x plus 4 is equal to 2x minus 4, which basically gives you 4 is equal to negative 4, because that cancels out and that cancels out. All right? These are called contradictions. If I spell it right. Contradictions. Contradictions are untrue. And if you have an untrue statement, your answer is no solution, which is sometimes written as a 0 with a slash through it. Or it's written out no solution. Okay? So if you watch the videos, in the section of solving equations, somewhere in that video, I either go over a homework question and I talk about this, or I put it in the notes, one of the two. Okay, oops, I forgot to switch over. I am so sorry. Here we go. Sorry about that. So pause the video so you can write this down. That's the good thing about doing the videos. You can pause it whenever you need to catch up or you need to let something sink in. Okay? So pause the video, write it, and start the video back up, because I'm going to go on and do the problem. You give 5 seconds. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. You had 5 seconds to stop the video or pause the video. Now I'm going to go on and do the problem. Okay. So 4x, or 4 times x plus 2 is equal to 2 times 2x plus 1 plus 6. Now the first thing you got to do when I talk about them videos, you got to bust up the cement block. And that means you got to use the hammer. So you got to use the distributive law. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you haven't watched the videos. 4x plus 8 is equal to 4x plus 1 plus 6. Oops, I'm sorry. There we go. 4x plus 2, because you got to distribute both. So 4x plus 8 is equal to 4x plus 8. Oh my gosh, that's a true statement. That's an identity. That's equal to each other. So this statement is true. Therefore, all real numbers. So your answer is all real numbers. And that's number 14. Pause the video. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You had 5 minutes to pause the video. Okay. Let's go back to the next question. And we'll put all real numbers. Well, you see the green stars at all real numbers, so I know what I'm talking about. So you don't say I'm wrong. Okay, that was number 14. Number 14 says, hold on a minute. I can't chew bubble gum. I'm a guy, so I can't chew bubble gum and talk at the same time. There we go. 6.1, number 15. So let me write number 15 down. Number 15 says the time, T, in minutes, needed for clothes hanging on a line outdoors to dry at a specific temperature depends on the humidity. So T depends on humidity. And you know that because if it's real humid outside, it takes forever for clothes to dry. But if it's very arid and the wind's blowing and it's very arid, meaning a hot sun like a hair dryer, then it's real hot like a hair dryer and the wind's blowing, then it's going to take less time. All right, the time can be written by this equation. T is equal to 2h squared plus 90h plus 40. So there's your formula, and they're going to ask you to plug and chug probably. When h is the humidity expressed as a decimal number. Find the length of time, find t, if there is 90% humidity. 90% humidity. So they want you to plug in 90%. And you cannot plug in 90%. Percent cannot be plugged into a formula with 90 and the percent symbol. So let's write that down. When you want to plug percent into a formula, you have to use the decimal. Okay? You cannot plug in, and I go over this in my videos, you cannot plug in a decimal into a formula. So I'm going to rewrite. Okay, hold on. Let me turn on my, there we go. I'm going to rewrite my 90% as 0.90. And that's why I went over that section of 10.1 in the first unit, you know, changing decimals into percents, percents into decimals. Okay, so that's what we're going to plug in for h. So 2 parentheses 2 raised to the second power plus 90 times 0.9 plus 40. And plug in 0.9 there. Now you got to use your handy dandy calculator. I'm just going to use mine on my phone because it doesn't have to be a scientific calculator. And if I can find it, I got to find it first. Hold on, let me find it. That's the only thing about where is the calculator? There it is. Okay, so I'm going to take 0.9 and raise that to the second power. So times 0.9 is equal to 0.81 times 2. And that's going to give you 1.62. So this is 1.62. And this, 90, I'm going to clear it, 90 times 0.9, that's 81, plus 40. And now I'm just going to go across. So here we go. 1.62 plus 81 plus 40. I got 122.62. So it's going to take, and you can divide that by 60 if you want to know how many hours. Divided by 2, or shoot, multiplied by 2 equals divided by, ignore what I'm saying, 2 hours, pretty much 2 hours and 5 minutes. Okay? And that's another plug and chug. That's a plug and chug question right there. So I'm going to put in, says type and enter decimal. I'm going to say 122.62, and we feel good about ourselves. So we don't have to put smokestacks on a pickup truck. Okay, next. And just for a second, I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to pause the recording right quick. Hold on just a second. Okay, sorry about that. I had to answer a phone call. And let's go back to the homework. I think that was number 15. So let's look at the next one. And this is number 16. Number 16 says, A football kicked vertically upward from a height of 3 feet is an initial speed of 75 feet per second. The formula is right here. So I'm going to rewrite that formula because it's not written that way. 90% of the time, the square comes first, and I can't stand when they do that, so I'm going to rewrite it. H is equal to negative 16 t squared plus 75t plus 3. So the height of the football depends on the time that after it was kicked. Use the formula. Use the formula means evaluate. To find the ball 3 seconds after it was kicked. 3 seconds. So we're going to plug and chug again. Okay? So I'm going to rewrite negative 16 parentheses squared plus 75 times parentheses plus 3. We'll plug in my 3 that they give us right there. And 3 squared is 9 plus 75 times 3. I'm just going to rewrite that, and we'll do it all together at one time. Plus 3. This is a calculator question. Unless you're Rain Man, it's a calculator question. So we're going to do the calculator, if I can find it again. And that will give us, if you can't find your calculator or if you don't know how to use your calculator, that's not a bad thing. We have so many people now that can't spell mom backwards because they can't do it on their calculator. We have so many people now working cash registers that can't make change, can't read a ruler. So, you know, it's a good thing that you don't depend on a calculator. All right, 16 times 9 is going to give you negative 144. And then plus 75, clear, 75 times 3 is 225 plus 3. And just go straight across because it's brother and sister. And if you've watched my videos, you know what I'm talking about with brother and sister. So negative 144 parentheses plus 225 plus 3. And I got 84. So that football is 84 feet up in the air after 3 seconds. At 3 seconds, not after. At 3 seconds. And that should be your answer. So let's go back and type it in so we can feel good about ourselves. 83 or 84? 84. Ding! Let's go out and celebrate. Next. And that was number 16. And the last one that we've got is this one. Well, I guess that's not. Okay, I thought we have. Oh, we don't went over. Oh, that's 6.2. That one I did yesterday, and I put it on YouTube. So, keep watching the videos and keep sending the questions, and I'll be glad to go over any questions. Have a good one.